very impressive. I mean, you got to admire somebody that would that's her husband's shoes. It's very impressive.
I think the momentum is probably with Ellen. I hope so anyway.
Strong legacy candidate, and she can make the case that she's going to finish Ronnie's, agenda.
Yeah.
And so I think she'll be probably difficult to beat.
She sounds like Ronnie, with a female voice, articulate and driven and very confident. I'm really happy to meet. Hello, everybody. Welcome back again. I'm Matt Daniel. I'm the chairman of the Spirit of VMI Political Action Committee, and we're back on January 4th. Today's January 4th, Wednesday, to have a discussion and interview with Ellen Campbell, who is running for the special election for Virginia's 24th House of Delegates district. And we'll go in and we'll talk with Ellen here in a little bit. Anybody who's followed the stuff that the Spirit of VMI has been doing for the last couple of years might be familiar with the series of interviews that we've done across the spectrum of candidates, and we'll intend to do the same thing for the 2023 elections. This is a wrap up of the 23 or 22 elections, really, in special elections. We did one a couple of weeks ago for Kevin Adams running for Senate down in Virginia Beach, and now for Ellen, who is running to replace her husband, who passed away, who was a great friend of the Spirit of VMI. So welcome, Ellen Campbell. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And those of us in the pack, we've got 5 guys in the pack. We're all listening in and talking with you a little bit beforehand, but welcome and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here with you. I appreciate the invite.
Well, it's necessary for us to support anything that Ronnie Campbell stood for and was in the process of doing, and this sounds like it's something that is certainly worthwhile for us to follow up on. Do you mind? Can you give us a real quick bio of where you came from, your family, and any of that stuff, and we'll get into some questions in a minute.
Sure. So I grew up in Augusta County, and I moved to Rockbridge in 2008. I went to Fort Defiance High School. I was a graduate of Fort Defiance. I graduated from Avery University with a bachelor's degree in business administration. And I also am a graduate of the Virginia Banker School of Bank Management at UVA Darden. Ronnie and I raised 5 beautiful, talented young women. We have 4 son-in-laws and 7, I think, perfect grandchildren. I've enjoyed a 30-year career in banking. I've done everything in banking with helping families and businesses and individuals, from purchasing a car, a piece of equipment, buying a home, saving for college education, financing college education, business lines of credit, starting up businesses, really, you name it. When it came to helping people to achieve their financial goals and dreams, I've been able to do it. Each interaction has been incredibly unique and very special. I've learned a lot about what's important to people. I learned a lot about the things that they worry about, and it's been really a privilege to be able to work with them and help them to have that financial security to meet their goals and their dreams.
That's awesome. 5 girls.
5 girls, and Ronnie had all of his hair still, right? And a beautiful head of hair. So yeah.
And a great sense of humor. I always really enjoy my conversations with him. Very quick-witted and a great sense of humor. And he was a dedicated law enforcement professional officer for his first career, right? Before he got into politics.
25 years with the Virginia State Police.
And this was his second or his third tenure, I guess, term as a delegate.
So he ran in a special election and finished out Ben Klein's term, that 1 year, and then this was his 3rd term.
His 3rd term, okay. Mm-hmm. And so the way it works right now, from what I understand, is the special election goes on January 10th.
January 10th.
the session starts on the 11th, if I get that right.
Yep, you're right.
And then that lasts for a period of time until the new elections, where the redistricting takes over at that point. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and you're the 24th district, which is a variety of a smattering of Rockbridge County and where else?
Bath County, Amherst
Okay.
County, and Southern Augusta County.
Okay, and then that shifts later. So VMI is in your district
Currently.
and that's right. So currently in your district, and which is how we got to know Ronnie, was his support of the efforts and the ideological alignment with what the Political Action Committee, the spirit of VMI, was standing for, and the things that we were doing, and very much appreciated him and his endeavors. But I'd like you to tell me, if you would, about the things that Ronnie wanted to finish some things up. And unfortunately, you didn't get to the end of this term. So can you tell me about some of those things?
Yeah, well, so, Ronnie really had a few key things that were really important to him. Certainly, safety of our communities was of paramount importance to him. And, the way that you support that is by supporting law enforcement officers and enforcing our laws. Secondly, education. We've heard a lot about education recently, but it's always important. And Ronnie really wanted to make sure that we restored excellence in the education system here. He felt that one of the key ways that we could do that was to make sure that we attract and retain the highest quality, talented teachers out there. And you do that by making sure they're compensated well, and to make sure that the environment that they work in is conducive to teaching and learning, and it's a place that they want to go and work every day. And then finally, Ronnie was a champion of our constitutional rights and protections, and he fought tirelessly to make sure that our liberties weren't infringed, particularly for the right to life and also our Second Amendment. Those are things, not all the things, but I would say three of the most important things that we continue to work on this year, and to make sure that we get, do his legacy justice.
Are there any things in particular, on any of these, let's say education, for example, that if you were to be, when you are elected on Tuesday the 10th, and you go in on Wednesday the 11th, I guess, that will drive your priorities? What are the things that you'll do as far as education goes that you'd like to see changed or maintained?
So I think when it comes to education, we really need to go back to the basics. It's important that we teach our children how to think, not what to think. And I think that having our parents to be in the center of the educational circle is really important. Parents really should be participating and being a driving force in that. Recently, if you look at the SOL scores in Virginia, they're going down. It's not a trend that we should be proud of. We need to look at that and look hard at that and try to figure out why that's happening. We're also seeing a lot of students in rural communities that are leaving the rural communities and going to more urban communities because they have better educational opportunities. That's something that, I think should not be happening. And, I think that there has been somewhat of an imbalance on the promoting our 4-year college degrees in universities. I'm a big advocate of education and 4-year education, but we have kind of overlooked technical and vocational programs in this area. And you can see that we have a really big mismatch and skills gap with the jobs that are out there and the capabilities of the students that we're putting out into the workforce. So I think we can do better. And I think those are places that we need to start.
You're a Mike Rowe fan, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So vocational and technical education is something we really need, and we need it now. What do you think about law enforcement safety in the state right now, and our take and our approach that has been toward supporting law enforcement, especially in the big cities?
Well, so, in the big cities, I think that, we've got a lot of work to do. We are living in a time where it's anti-law enforcement, and that, our law enforcement agencies are the bad guys, and that our criminals, should be set free and have all the rights. Fortunately, here in the 24th district, we don't really experience that. I've been around the district with Ronnie. He had a great rapport with all of our sheriffs and our police departments and state police. And our communities here have a good relationship overall with our law enforcement officers. They understand and appreciate the value, then protection that they give to us. And so I think we just need to continue with that here. We need to do that by supporting them with, pay raises. We need to make sure that they have the supplies and the training and the funding that they need to get and to keep us safe. So the big picture, if you take us out of the equation, lots of work to do. But if you look at where we are right now, I would say we have a pretty healthy law enforcement and community relationship.
Well, I did notice that, and I live in Rockbridge County. I live in Lexington, just outside of Lexington, and the relationship between the citizens and the sheriff's department specifically is really, really good.
Really good.
And I know that Ronnie must have known some of these officers, because they spoke really highly of him and his legacy. So that's great to hear. We feel safe in Rockbridge County, and I hope we can do that across the state continually. In talking earlier, we talked a little bit about taxation or inflation and the money in the pockets of the families today. What do you think about that, and how's that going in the state of Virginia?
Well, I think, in our country right now, not just in the state of Virginia, but inflation is really a crippling situation. And we're all feeling the impact of it. But I don't think anyone is being hurt any more than our hardworking middle-class families. We all see it at the grocery store. We see it at the gas pump, goods and services, really everything that we do. But it's especially hard for these hardworking, families. They're struggling to put food on the table, keep gas in the car, and just to be able to maintain, the things that they have to be able to sustain a family. So I think there are things we can do about it. I think the first place that we start is by lowering taxes in Virginia. Lowering taxes will help us to improve the quality of life for our citizens here. It will give them more money back in their pockets, so it will help them and it'll alleviate some of the stress. I think that's something that we can do immediately, that we can focus on, and that's something I plan to be a champion for.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for that. We had just a few topics we want to talk about. I think we've talked about most of those, or all of those, really, except for VMI. We're a political action committee. We stand for the legacy values of VMI. We think VMI has been treated unfairly in the national media, in the Virginia legislature, to include the previous governor. And so we stand for a history and a current situation where VMI is not racist, and it's not a bigoted organization. You must have, living in the county or around the county, you must have visited VMI before, been to a parade or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your impression is, but I'd love to hear. Previous to 2021, 2020, would you have ever said that VMI was a racist place and you wouldn't want your kids to go anywhere near it?
No, and I would not say that now. I've heard all of the media storm and allegations, and frankly, they're unfounded. I've had a very different experience from living here and working, and with people who are alumni. Some of them are my greatest friends. I've watched countless numbers of cadets, from the rat line through graduation. And, my experience has been completely different than what they're portraying right now. And I've seen VMI, actually, in my view, make an equal playing field for the students. And they do that by expecting hard work and asking them to work together and to help one another, to support one another and rely on one another to be successful. And to me, there's nothing systemically racist about that. In fact, I feel like it is the exact opposite. And we could all learn a great deal from VMI.
Well said. I don't know what what better way to say it. I think when we go back, we're going to chop some of those words and use them in our own. We're putting out a newsletter here by the end of the week, and we're going to one of the gentlemen who are on here is our newsletter editor, and I'm sure that we'll have some quotes from what you just said. Well, would you like to add anything else about the race, about the get out the vote? How do you feel about it, or anything else you want to talk about?
Well, so I'm really excited about the opportunity. It's humbling. I do think that it is important that we continue to make sure that the conservative values of this area are represented. I look forward to being able to serve everyone in the 24th district, even though it'll be for a limited time. But, I'll still live in Rockbridge County and if in the 36th district, if and when that comes to fruition, while VMI proper won't be in that district, I'll still be a great friend of VMI. So I look forward to spending a lot of time with you.
We very much appreciate you spending, first of all, picking up the mantle and carrying on Ronnie's legacy. We're humbled. We are humbled by the effort that you're showing here and the obvious ability that you have to pull the job off. And we're really looking forward to you winning this and pressing on with it. So
I had the greatest teacher, that, and so my mentor was one of the finest men. So
I'm sure, yes, I know he was a fine man. I'm sure that mentorship went both ways, but God bless Ronnie and God bless you. And I'd like to just say it now that the spirit of VMI looks forward to supporting and endorsing Ellen Campbell for the 24th House of Delegates district. And then if she so chooses to run for the 36th, we look forward to having that conversation, doing the same thing for her in the 36th district as well. But first things first, let's take care of the alligator that's closest to the boat and win this thing on Tuesday the 10th. Everybody who sees this and listens to it, get out to vote. Go to your closest firehouse or voting place and cast that ballot in the special election for Ellen Campbell. Thank you very much, Ellen. Appreciate it so much. And thank you, Jarrett, who's one of your son-in-laws who set this up for us too. So very much appreciate it.
I sure will. Thank you guys so much. It was good talking with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Tell everyone to vote.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right.
You guys got anything else to say that I can clip and put in?
Can't add anything to that.
Right. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for your support tonight, fellas. I'll get right to this and then we'll talk to you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks,
Sweet.
Matt.
Night, guys.
Good night.